Cisco singing about what these bitches want from they go while DMX lists off all the bitches.
Gotcha.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't on Cisco. It ain't Cisco's fault. DMX is out there getting it in.
Oh, okay. So on the personality assessment inventory, so first she failed to mention that were clear indications of response distortion. She also failed to mention that Ms. Hurd scored in her score profile against their main scores. She did elevate a
Shout
score
out to the lead
for the
attorney
borderline personality disorder sort of
with
section,
the on
but that in
point
and of itself
legal
would not indicate a
commentary.
diagnosis. However, the configuration of her scores overall
20 years
is
in law
consistent
is
with that, and in fact, it's one of the
20 years
diagnostic
more than I got.
suggestions given by the test itself. And then also there's a configuration around Ms. Hurd's trauma responses on that particular test, which demonstrates that it is more likely that those symptoms were reported in relation to something in the distant childhood. It's more consistent with childhood chronic abuse than present circumstances or recent circumstances.
Okay, I think you said in addition to the issues with her own testing, Dr. Hughes misrepresented your results.
She did.
Can you tell us how?
So what I would say the main issue was that she said that Ms. Hurd obtained a normal profile on my NMPI too.
All right. How do you disagree with Dr. Hughes relative to the profile?
Okay, so the profile was not normal. So
No,
Ms.
Bella, that's
Hurd
a good
already had subtle elevations just by the test by itself as it came out. There were subtle elevations, but they were elevations that if the validity scales hadn't been as elevated as they were, you might have said this person has some traits, but this isn't necessarily at the level of a true pathology. However, Ms. Hurd elevated a scale that essentially is a defensiveness scale on this test. And when you're giving this test, you always are mindful of different norms or groups who may have similar profiles. And there are certain groups of litigants who tend to elevate this scale as well. So I had that in mind. However, Ms. Hurd elevated this so much that it was far beyond the mean for the litigants that are known to have the highest levels of this scale, this defensiveness scale. And when this scale is elevated to the level that it is, you automatically understand that it is very likely that those clinical scales, I keep doing this because I'm seeing it in my head. It looks like sort of an ECT. It's
She
sort of
shit on the
these
bed,
peaks
y'all.
You see on the ground. And when you see these peaks,
That one right there.
and
I watched
this
Aquaman
huge
yesterday.
peak over here
Look
with
at
the
her.
And I was
defensiveness
like,
scale, what you know is that these
Look at
peaks
the
are
like I wanted her to
actually
be really
completely
bad
lowered or
in it, but
suppressed
she really
based
wasn't
on
that
the
bad.
respondent
I
being
was like,
so
this dirty
defensive.
bitch shitting
They
on the
still
bed. I hope she
detected
sucks at
what's
acting.
likely
I
there
really
for
didn't
her,
remember
but it's
how she
not
did
as
in the
high as
movie,
it
and
should be. So you make an adjustment.
I mean, she wasn't great,
And
but
the
she wasn't
recommendation
bad.
is that anything at 60
It was
or above,
acceptable.
called a T-score of
But you know what's not
60 or
acceptable?
above, is considered significant.
Shit in the bed.
Ms. Hurds were already over 60.
That is not
Some were
acceptable
quite
for me.
higher than that. And then you see a very
It is
clear
not
profile.
acceptable for me.
And that was how I
Where
got
the- where
that.
is-
I
where is
mentioned
my
a 3-6
bidet?
code type. Now, the test does its own
You
correction
will do
also
it.
for some of the scores, but not the ones that are her main code
Man,
type.
these Muslim dudes
With the
be
test
on
correction, she
some
had a
shit.
136 code type, which is very similar.
You will get
What
my
is the
bidet. You will
3-6
splash
code
the
type?
water on my
Look at the
A
porcelain
3-6
skin,
code type is something that
swirl.
has been researched and found to be
Show-
highly correlated or probabilistic of certain behavioral
Show me your
tendencies
anal.
and personality traits.
I'm
And
not
the traits with a
dirty.
3-6 code type tend to be
Let me
marked
see.
by a lot of externalization of blame, a lot of denial about one's own personal faults, intentional or not intentional, but just extreme denial.
Yeah.
Hostility
let's get
that
some
is
tweeds, yo.
strongly
Stoned
harmful
Chakra,
and suppressed. The
bitches.
person may
Big
not even
tweeds.
realize how hostile they are, but family members, those closest to them, are very likely to report that
Again, shout
they
out to
lose
lead
their temper,
attorney
and
for
when they
the
lose their temper, it explodes.
legal commentary.
We have sort of
Shout
what we
out to
call a
me for the
cookbook
stoner commentary.
for these code types, which will provide you with all the information that's been researched to be associated with them. And our cookbook actually states that 3-6 profile specifically tends to be associated with cruel and ruthless behavior, particularly to those who they perceive as less powerful than them and subordinates.
Cruel and ruthless.
Describe for the jury the review process that you went through relative to the MMPI.
So I conducted a very methodical analysis of the scores. I do this for every test, and I also did it when I was reviewing Dr. Hughes's scores. So what you haven't seen that's in Discovery is that I created a 25-page outline just of her scores with, and it's sort of a table. So I'll put the score, I'll do it in sections so that I can understand different groupings, different research studies, and I start with looking at all the validity scales. So I put in the score, and I'll even color the table to show me if it's kind of in the high zone, moderate zone, or low. And then if it's low, is it a significant low score, or is it just low so it doesn't mean anything? And then in the right side, I put all the research data that I found on this particular scale score. And so I start with the validity scales, the way the person approached the test. Then I go down to essentially, we call these the first factors. So their overall sense of well-being and how well they cope. On this, actually, Ms.
I thought she was going to take it off.
She endorsed scores or endorsed items that were
I thought she was going to take off the swirl.
So really saying that she feels free of distress and that she views herself very well. So then I go down to control, self-control, loss of control, coping abilities, and I put in the scores that are associated with that in the research and the test development. Then I go down to clinical and personality pathology, and I look at all the scores that are significant there, first with the top level main scores, then with all of the different sub-scores, again, citing the research, the meaning, the level of elevation, and what that means. And then I do comparison with different research groups. So for Ms. Hurd, I did a section that looked at all sorts of different scores that have been implicated with a PTSD presentation to see if any of those were consistent.
Say words, son.
I can't remember how many there were. I think I put 13 on there, but I could be wrong.
Say words, son.
I believe that there was only one that could even be, in some research, is sometimes associated with it, but it was general anxiety, which turned out to be more trait specific. I looked at the scores that are typical of women with IPV. Hers were not consistent at all with those. I looked at the scores that were consistent with people who are frequently in litigation. Hers actually were very highly correlated with those. That tends to be also consistent with a 3-6 code type. And the reason for that is believed to be that they tend to perceive themselves often as victims who need to avenge wrongs.
Were there
Look at her just cleaning it. Look at her. Look at the posing. You know she ain't writing nothing. She's so smug.
Yes. So Dr.
Sniffing her own
Hughes
farts, just
generally said that testing supported PTSD and that there was an etiology for her trauma of intimate partner violence. She
That's a
did
good aroma.
reference that essentially I can't remember if she said that the trauma symptom inventory indicated PTSD, but she did say that the elevation on that validity scale is consistent with PTSD, and that's simply not true. That scale was designed and has been tested and shown to be there to show when somebody is endorsing extremely unusual items that are not consistent with PTSD. And even though when some people are experiencing PTSD, their distress level is so high that they'll engage in what we call a cry for help, and they may sometimes exaggerate distress. Again, when you're looking at scores as high as Ms. Hurd's, and then you're not seeing indications of PTSD in the more subtle tests where she doesn't know what she's endorsing, it's good evidence that her over-endorsement on that one test is because of the reason the scale was made, to detect exaggeration and feigning of symptoms.
Wow, they detected her exaggerating.
Resulted in the 98th percentile score.
Yes, on that score, on that atypical response scale.
And what does that 98th percentile score represent?
What's that represent?
So that 98th percentile score just represents that among 98% of people who take that test would not have endorsed She scored more of those unusual items that are not consistent with PTSD than 98% of people who have ever taken that test.
Does that
Wow.
relate to this concept you talked about before called feigning?
Yes.
Wow.
What is feigning again?
Well, feigning is essentially exaggerating symptoms of a disorder.
I
She
think
was
the
checking
third
off shit that
thing
98% of the other people would
we were
not.
talking about was,
She's lying.
self-reports and personal opinion as facts. What are
Who
you talking
sits like that all the time,
So
posing?
in any science and in
She's the only
psychology
one in the courtroom
specifically,
sits like
it's
that.
really important that we use precise language and we say what we mean and we do not present
Well, yeah, because
opinions as
she's
facts,
a movie star
because
that's
when
just
you
as
are in the role
rich
of
and
an
famous
expert
as Jason
witness,
Momoa or Chris Pine
or
who
an
else did
expert
she
in
name?
any
Fucking
setting,
Gal Gadot.
essentially a
That would
layperson
be
may not
uncomfortable.
be able to
Supermodel before
detect
she was
the difference between
like,
something
come
that is a
on now.
personal
You
opinion
compare
that you're
yourself
giving
to Wonder Woman
versus
right now?
something that is
You gonna compare
substantiated by
yourself to
research
Wonder
data,
Woman right now?
test data, reliable test methods. So our ethics talk
Like,
about,
bitch, you
especially
was
the
in Never
specialty
Back
guidelines
Down.
of forensic psychology,
And that shit got a direct to
the
DVD sequel.
responsibility we
Not even
have to distinguish between
Shut up,
data
N. Allen. I don't like it. It's not
and
comfortable.
inferences we're making from that data, what the data can mean. It's sort of like those tables I do. I put the data, the
You was the
inferences based on
sidekick.
the research, and then what my ultimate opinion is,
Sidekick.
integrating all of that data. And it's very important that we clarify that to the fact finder, to the judge, the jury. That's our responsibility, that we do not cloak personal opinions.
Shout out to
or
all the people
self-report
not
of an
watching.
examinee
I appreciate y'all.
as an expert
You know what I mean?
fact or somehow
0 people.
scientifically
It's
based
always
when it
it's always
is just
hood.
a personal opinion.
Shout out to the
or
people that have
self-report
popped
of an
in
examinee.
and popped
What
out.
do
They
you mean by
said, "What the fuck is this?"
The
I
self-report
came
is
for the
essentially
title,
what
and
the
then once I
examinee
saw what
tells
was
you
going
during the
on, I was like,
interview.
"Fuck this," and I appreciate that too.
Um,
That's real.
when
Vote
did
with your
Dr.
feet.
Hughes do this most?
I'm just doing this because I haven't been on in
She
a
did
while,
this
and
most when describing instances
might as
of
well.
alleged IPV. And there's also an issue there because one of our ethics
Might as
also
well.
discusses the importance of relevance and withholding, essentially constraining our testimony to the data and not including private information, personal information that unnecessarily compromises the dignity
You can
of
trace what I already got.
any of the litigants. She provided a lot of what was Ms. Heard's report to her, the allegations of abuse, when describing Mr. Depp, who she had not examined,
You
when
do it on my
describing
leg.
Mr. Depp's behavior, his motivations. I believe she
It might
used
be
the
hairy,
word
though.
obsessive jealousy quite a few times, talked about Ms. Heard being in a highly dangerous situation. These are simply things
Also
that we cannot detect based on testing and a psychological evaluation. We have to evaluate the person, we have to get consent, and we can only describe an individual, not whether or not IPV has occurred. And we certainly shouldn't go into explicit details about sexual encounters or other things that are highly prejudicial, shocking, and hard to forget.
Dr. Hughes says that Ms. Heard has PTSD. Do you agree?
I do not.
Wow.
The results of my multi-method comprehensive evaluation based on carefully selected, researched, relevant test instruments, based on comparing those instruments to Ms. Heard's self-report, observing Ms. Heard's behavior over 12 direct hours of assessment, reviewing copious notes from prior therapists who indicated symptoms in their notes, reviewing the notes of Nurse Velati, previously Nurse Borum, who spent, I believe at one point, almost 2 months with Ms. Heard daily, reviewing the notes of her treating providers, all of the legal documents and discovery. There was no evidence of PTSD.
No evidence. Jesus.
How is evidence of PTSD generally
Shout out to
exhibited?
Kelly Hansen, half Norwegian and half Irish.
Really, the
Jesus.
bottom line
That's
in a forensic
smooth.
psychological evaluation
That's
is
smooth.
a change in functioning. That's what we're looking for. Again, I said we don't have a crystal ball. We're not wizards. We can't get into somebody's
You're
head.
a wizard, Harry.
What we're looking for were there identifiable changes in the way the person engaged in their world. Were they able to keep a job? PTSD is an extremely disabling diagnosis.
Right.
When a person has true PTSD, it is difficult for them to work. You'll see unemployment, job loss. It causes extreme levels of distress and impairment. There's divorce, there's isolation and estrangement from children, from family members, extreme alcohol abuse, often a string of sudden DUIs when the person never had any before. They become homebound. They can't go to the store. They're certainly not going to events. They're not having success in their film career.
Not going to Aquaman.
They're not
Yeah.
exercising every day, pursuing their hobbies, being avid readers, obtaining level 3 sommelier training, having dinner parties with friends, speaking to public groups.
She's calling
Those are just
her out.
indications of very high functioning. And when you're looking for a decrease in functioning over time, that is inconsistent with that decrease.
Oof.
You got PTSD and you were in third-degree sommelier class? Calling her out.
For Ms. Heard's PTSD.
All right.
Shout out to this damn Dr. Curry is calling her. Oh, she had PTSD and she was in her third-degree black belt sommelier class with her PTSD. Like, these people can't even go to the grocery store. And she's getting her third-degree black belt in sommelier. Come on. This doctor is on her ass. Shout out to Kelly Hansen, man. She said, I'm half Norwegian, half Irish. Kelly's trying to give Randy a run for the money. Who is the smoothest cat? Jesus Christ. All Kelly needs to say is she's a damn redhead.
I'm pretty sure that
smooth.
he was on a ramble about nothing. Sommelier has to do with wine. It's not.
Sommelier is a wine expert.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with martial arts.
No, it doesn't.
All right, I just had to make sure. But,
Google it, bitch.
like,
Yeah, we got Lithonia. All right, shout out to Lithonia. My first love was this girl. She lived in Lithonia. My very first love in high school. Jesus Christ.
what the fuck
So
is
they are up there.
Lithonia?
This doctor is murdering her.
I'll
We
have
got
to Google
North
that, too.
Carolina up in the house. We got Boston. What was that movie? Harvard Square.
Lithonia.
Let's go get in the car.
City in Georgia.
Go get my car so we can go to Harvard.
Whoa, that's a small
That's a
city.
terrible accent.
Suggested that
Got Philly in the house.
That's
perhaps
crazy small.
South Africa in the house.
PTSD was somehow triggered.
Cartersville,
What do you
Brooklyn.
do on that?
I would say
Oh, is this
that
like a suburb
it
of
can't be
Atlanta?
triggered if PTSD isn't present.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
All right. Cross-examination.
Smooth.
Eastern DeKalb County, Lithuania.
Goddamn Namibia.
In the Atlanta
$10 if you can find
metropolitan area.
Namibia on the damn map.
We all remember you're not board certified,
I know
correct?
it's something.
Uh oh. Uh oh.
And you've been
Here come
licensed for
Grandma.
how long?
I've been licensed for 10 years.
Okay, and you are being paid by Mr. Depp's legal team to be here, correct?
Yes,
How much have you charged so far?
Uh oh.
I actually don't know.
Over 100,000?
I truly don't know. I don't do my own books.
Over 200,000?
I don't know.
Over 300,000?
That would be way too much, but I do not know.
Okay. Now, just so that we all
200,000?
remember, you had dinner
She know how much she
at
making on
Mr.
this.
Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Depp, Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez, correct?
I was interviewed. I asked if there was anything I could
Shout
eat
out to
because
Herbie.
about 3 hours I started to get hungry. Mr. Depp then offered to order takeout for the entire team.
So you had dinner with Mr. Depp's
Damn, Gracie.
home with Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, Ms. Vasquez, and Mr. Depp, correct?
Yes,
And you had drinks as well, correct?
I actually don't know. I do remember that there were drinks.
Do you recall testifying earlier that you did have a drink, a mule something?
No, I remember testifying that there might have been a mule,
Oh,
a
what?
Moscow mule.
Okay, thank you. We didn't have animals there as well, right?
No animals.
Okay, that's good to know.
Shut up,
And
bitch.
you talked about
Grandma!
transparency.
You know you wasn't talking
I
about
just
no
want to make
goddamn
sure.
mule.
you had several designations, expert designations and reports in this case, correct?
Yes,
And in not one of them did you disclose that you had dinner and drinks at Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez. Is that
Dinner.
correct?
Ms. Bredehoff, you're mischaracterizing what occurred.
Dr. Curry, please answer the question.
Yes or
Not once
no?
did you disclose this in any of your
I
reports,
did not
correct?
disclose that I was interviewed, as that's standard procedure.
At Johnny
But
Depp's
it's true that
house.
you have never gone to a client's house to be interviewed for an expert witness position, correct?
Yes, because I never had a client that was essentially homebound because of their celebrity status.
All right. And you
Good answer.
talked to Mr. Depp for 3 to 4 hours before taking on the role of assessing Ms. Heard and deciding whether she was suffering from any distress, correct?
I did not talk to Mr. Depp. I was talking to his legal team and he was there to observe.
He was present for the 3 to 4
Yes.
hours. Oh, and are you saying now he just stayed silent and said nothing all day?
I don't recall what he didn't or didn't do. I was answering questions.
Okay. Now
Look at
your
Johnny looking at Grandma.
expertise here is
Johnny like, I'll
limited
slap the
to
shit out you.
whether suffers from PTSD currently. Is that correct?
Yes, I was tasked with conducting
Look
an
at Johnny.
evaluation to determine
Dr.
Ms.
Curry,
Heard's mental
you know, we're all on
status.
very, very strict time limitations
Okay.
because we promised to get this case to the jury. So I'd really appreciate if you just answer my question rather than trying to go further,
Sure.
okay? Thank you very much. Now,
I can't stand that. bit.
after you
Facts.
had the dinner,
Sounds like a
you then provided a designation in February of 2021 in which you said, and this is long before you ever saw Amber Heard,
Somebody in the
okay?
chat said Grandma
You
looked
said
like
that Amber
Taylor
Heard,
Swift, though. That's
quote,
crazy.
exhibits patterns of behavior that are consistent with co-occurring cluster
Like,
B
I'ma let you finish.
personality disorder traits, especially
But Johnny
borderline
Depp-
personality disorder. End of quote. Correct?
No,
No, we went through this before.
we did.
But and that was on the designation, was it not?
I told you last time that I did not write that.
Okay. And you don't know who did on the legal team, correct?
You gonna
No.
shut up now is what you gonna do.
I also asked you
Goddamn
if
grandma.
you may recall whether you listened to the audio recording in which Mr. Depp taunted Amber Heard that she had a borderline personality disorder. Do you recall that?
I recall you asking me that, yes.
Did you recall listening to that audio tape?
I don't recall Mr. Depp taunting Ms. Heard.
Tell-
I do recall that he at some point suggested she might have that diagnosis.
Okay. And that was back in these audio tapes back when they were together, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Now, you've never before been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to someone who has bipolar disorder, correct?
no, as I previously stated, that's not true.
All right.
Can y'all give me the 1.7 likes, please? 3,600 people in the chat. Can we get to 1.7 likes?
Not
Nope.
up here anymore.
Did y'all see the way Johnny? This is crazy. Did y'all see the way Johnny was staring down Grandma?
Hardcore
Grandma's
stare.
coming out hot.
Hardcore stare.
All right, first of all, let's call a spade a spade. Grandma is coming out hot, saying, hold up.
Get the pixel swinging.
Didn't you spend 3 to 4 hours in Johnny's house drinking wine and alcohol with the mule? Like, what the hell?
Drinking.
Where did all this come from? Look at Doctor, what were you doing for 3 to 4 hours in Johnny's house?
Drinking wine.
I mean, Grandma coming out hot. Yeah, just look at the doctor like, man, this ain't going well. Look at Grandma. Grandma is coming in heated.
G-Mall.
Shout out to Mr. Mustachio. I like doctor. I like those glasses. This doctor's on it, man. You know, the doctor killed on her direct, but Grandma is coming out hot.
Get the pixel swinging.
The doctor did a great job, but
Testifying in your
Grandma's
deposition March
fighting.
21, 2022, correct?
Yes,
And you were under oath at that time, correct?
yes,
And the question I just showed you on page 207, line 5, have you ever been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to whether someone has bipolar disorder? And your answer at that time was no, correct?
yes, I'd forgotten that case.
Okay. And have you ever been asked to testify whether anyone has behavioral or characterological conduct that suggests they may be an IPV perpetrator?
I can't, yeah, I may have. It's difficult after about 250 cases. It's difficult to remember specifically.
All right, and have you ever been qualified as
Thank
an
you,
expert in
Terica.
the
Shout
area
out
of
to Terica.
IPV?
No.
And have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in domestic abuse or violence?
Domestic
Abuse or violence?
Yes, that's been a component of testimony.
If this doctor really, shout out to Herbie, said Jesus put the glasses on and he wrote this an hour ago. And look, it just came up right now. Shout out to Herbie, predicting the future. If this doctor really wanted to screw grandma, you know what she would do? She would take 5 seconds before she answered every question and just think. And honestly, that's what we attorneys tell you to do. Think before you answer.
Line 16
Take
on
a
page
few
207.
seconds.
Have you
But
ever
that would
been
eat into her
qualified as an expert
time.
in the area of IPV? Your answer on line 20 was no, under oath, correct? Then the next question, have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in domestic abuse or violence? That and goes into page 208, line 4. The answer then under oath was no. Now,
That's not a good
you
impeachment
would
way.
agree
She didn't really
that
do
the
well.
literature is quite clear that trauma-based symptoms such as PTSD or complex PTSD have symptoms that overlap with borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you would agree that
Thank
it's
you,
important
Rochelle.
to use valid and reliable measures for
Look
an
at her.
accurate diagnosis, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. You chose, however, not to administer the structured
I
clinical
can smell the poop
interview
from
for
here.
DSM-5 personality
can
disorder.
smell it.
Is
Jawline.
that correct?
I did.
Okay. And would you agree that
Right.
that is a state-of-the-art
Just one
structured
plop.
clinical interview?
Not for a forensic evaluation. with a
Together we are
sophisticated examining.
breeze.
But to determine if a personality disorder is present? you
No,
would use
not
it.
in this setting.
You don't agree with that?
I do not.
And you don't agree that that is the gold standard assessment for reliable, accurate psychiatric diagnosis?
It's a good one, but for treatment settings especially.
Okay. Now, did Ms. Hurd, you said you talked about, you read all of the treatment records, right?
Yes,
Okay. Do you recall
Got
reading
Randy.
the treatment records for the psychologist Bonnie Jacobs, who saw Amber Heard over 5 years?
I do.
And did you see anything in Bonnie Jacobs' notes over 5 years in which she diagnosed Ms. Heard with borderline personality or histrionic personality disorder?
No.
Now, you also saw the notes of Dr. Connell Cohen, correct?
Mhm.
And you even attended
Oh, we
his
got Dean in the
deposition,
building.
correct?
Yes.
All right.
Stoned Chakra,
bitches.
Got Dean in the building.
The Dr. Kipper connection,
Mhm.
right?
She,
Look at
Brittany's
the
over
Yes.
there.
swirl.
Okay.
You
And
can't
did
see her
you
because I got the
see anything
virtual green
in
screen up.
Dr. Cowan's notes, and
bruise
did he
kit.
say in his deposition that he diagnosed Amber Heard with borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder?
I saw
Why
the
her face
symptoms
so
clearly
shiny?
delineated throughout his notes and in his deposition. He does not use diagnoses, so he would not have diagnosed her.
He said specifically
No,
in
she's
his
sweaty from lying,
deposition
though.
he did not diagnose her with that, correct?
Yes, and he
She's so
also specifically stated
shiny.
that he does not use diagnoses.
All right. And you also have seen Dr. Banks, Dr. Amy Banks, the psychiatrist, her deposition, correct?
Yes.
And did Dr.
Not her
Anderson,
deposition, I reviewed her notes in the transcript.
all right, did Dr. Anderson diagnose Ms. Heard with borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder?
I don't believe she provided any diagnosis since she was a couples therapist.
All right.
Mm.
Now, you've said quite a bit about Don Hughes, but do you remember how many years?
Bruh, I've watched too much.
experience Don Hughes has in IPV and domestic abuse?
You're like, how
and
did
violence?
you have
I
all
know it's
all the
quite a
time
bit.
to watch this
Extensive,
trial
and
if you've
she
been
is
making them
board
hot
certified,
tracks? I
correct?
know.
Yes, she is.
All right, and she
I know.
spent
I'm able to
29 hours of
multitask really, really
examination.
well.
Did she not?
Yes, mostly
Okay.
interviewing.
All right, and she admitted, and she.
But yeah, I've
interviewed
watched
her
more than I
therapists,
probably
Bonnie
should have,
Jacobs
but I
and Tom
can't
Cowell,
stop because it's
correct?
hilarious.
And she also interviewed Amber's late
Every
mother.
time I think it's not going to be
Yes.
something
Okay, and she
hilarious, I get
administered
one more
12
hilarious thing to
different
laugh at.
tests over the period of that time, correct?
Well, as I said, the majority of those were checklists, which are inappropriate for the forensic setting.
I understand, that's what you say, but she administered 12 different tests, correct?
If you want to qualify them as tests, sure.
Okay.
Look at the
And
swirl.
so you disregard, no, I'm not even gonna say that. Okay. Let's go to the CAPS 5 and PTSD.
Mega
Now,
Grandma
Prince.
bombing.
in
She
terms
up here
of traumas in her life,
dropping
correct?
bombs.
Yes, I did
Okay.
give her an instrument to assess for any trauma exposure throughout the entire lifespan.
Yes, it's fine. And you wrote that Ms. Heard's exposure to a traumatic event, namely one of the sexual assaults by Mr. Depp, more than satisfied this requirement. Did you not write that in your notes?
That is not what I wrote in my notes. Do you have my notes? So we
And
can
you
look at them?
administered a structured clinical interview based on that trauma, correct?
Not exactly. It's not quite right.
Okay. Now, Dr. Hughes administered a full intimate partner violence assessment,
Look at the
correct?
cheekbones. The
That's
jawline.
not a psychological
Why does
assessment.
he keep doing
You can't assess for intimate partner violence. That's an
The
event.
lead be
Dr.
turned.
Hughes
Shout out to the
administered
lead
a full
attorney
intimate partner violence assessment,
for his
correct?
20
stated
years
that, and
of
that's
law
actually something I'm
experience
rebutting
and
today.
my
Okay,
0
and
years
you
of law
reviewed her
experience. Yeah,
psychological
big shout
testing.
out.
I sure did, yes.
Okay, and are you aware
But I've
that in
got
September
how many
2019?
Grandma's going fast. Do y'all
Ms.
hear how
Heard
fast
had a
she's going?
But I
trauma-based
got 20
symptom
years of
on
Stoned
many of those
Chakra
validated
experience.
Stoned Chakra, bitches.
Been getting high.
Can you be a little bit more specific? Many of those valid tests, which tests are you talking
Do
about?
you have a recollection of that, September 2019?
She administered all of her testing in September 2019, so I'm not sure which one, except for the CAPS 5, which was 10 days after mine in 2021.
Now, Dr. Hughes clinically
That is like a
evaluated
cupcake
those
swirl.
symptoms and established that Ms. Heard does have PTSD from the totality of the intimate partner violence by Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what she stated, yes.
Okay.
Grandma is rolling through these
Dr. Anderson's
questions.
clinical notes.
She's on the
said
clock.
Amber had come to
Objection, hearsay.
I haven't even asked the question yet, Your Honor.
Are you going to read her notes?
Well, no, actually, I wasn't going to read her notes. I was
Okay.
going to ask a particular question.
Okay.
You talked about danger. Do you recall that in your testimony?
Yes.
The
All right.
danger
Now,
zone.
if a patient comes to you as a couples therapist
Mhm.
with two black eyes,
Oh,
would you assess that there may be a potential danger there?
I thought you said two
Sure.
black guys.
Did you read Dr. Anderson's notes?
I believe I did.
I thought we were going somewhere else with that.
Now, you administered the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory 2, the MMPI-2. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you used that to determine whether Amber had PTSD, right?
Not by itself, but it was a part of the data.
Okay. And in the 60 to 70
The
T-score
doctor
range
needs
for
to
that
slow
test,
her answers
which,
down.
quote, deliberate attempts to mislead
Burn
are
time.
common, end quote. Isn't that correct?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
There you go.
In the T-score
Burn the
section
time.
of that, for which assesses deliberate attempts to mislead. Do you recall? She scored a 60 on that test, correct?
So there are multiple T-scores for each scale, so I'm not sure which scale you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, how
Well,
many?
we can deal with that later. So you would agree that you need to follow ethics and best practices in forensic psychology, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
Shout
the
out to
two
Johnny
primary
Law.
sources are the American Psychological Association.
You had them all, and then they all just
and Professional Code of Conduct.
sweat out of your
Right.
hands.
Thank you, Johnny.
And the American Psychological Association's Specialty Guidelines for Forensic Psychology.
Why is
correct?
the rum
Yes.
gone?
And Specialty Guidelines 1.02 states that forensic
According to
practitioners,
Amber Heard, it's
quote,
because you put
strive
the
for
rum bottle in her
accuracy,
hoo-ha.
Impartiality, fairness, and independence, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Specialty Guidelines 1.03 states that you have to avoid
None of
a
that shit makes sense,
conflict of
though.
interest.
Like, none of
Yes.
it makes sense. Like,
Grandma's rolling. Can y'all give me the
She's basically
2.0
said
likes,
this
please?
dude
2.0,
has
please. Thank you
grabbed
guys
her
so
by the
much.
pussy,
Listing the 4
Donald
hours
Trump
you spent
style,
with Mr. Depp,
shoved the
Mr.
bottle
Waldman, Mr. Chu,
fat
and Ms.
side
Vasquez.
up
You
in
also
her.
did not
But
list
then you gonna
that
come to
spent
his
an hour
hotel
with
room
Dr.
after
Shah,
you
correct?
told the world he's an abuser
That's
for trying to
incorrect.
fuck him one last time. How does that even make sense?
You say that you that
Let me
the
go fuck the
designation
dude that
said
raped me
you
with
spent
During
a
my
an
bottle,
deposition,
fat
I
side
also
up.
clarified this. I didn't spend an hour with Dr. Shaw. There was an introduction with the attorneys present on Zoom.
That don't make no sense.
My time on that call was less than 30 minutes.
But you still didn't disclose it, did you, in your reports?
No.
The worst thing you can do,
Shout out to
Johnny, is
National
leave
Novel.
me.
Thank you.
Don't leave
You have not been asked to testify
Stop being
about
a
Ms.
baby,
Heard's
Johnny.
behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
Don't tell me what it's like to be punched.
I was asked to testify about somebody's behavioral mental status in general, so that can include
I don't know,
behavior
man.
involved in a relationship with Mr.
Because she
Depp,
looked a
but
little.
not specifically.
She looked a little turnt. I'm not even going to front.
Can you?
Because
pull
my
up
guess is
page
she can
10?
probably hide it while she's
If I was
sitting
if I was
with her
this
lawyers.
doctor, I would
But
take
when the
5
camera's
seconds
on you the entire
before
time,
to answer anything,
like that little
and then I would
tissue
just
trait
talk
probably
real
doesn't
slow like
hold
Johnny.
up
Y'all remember how
well.
slow Johnny was talking?
You know what I mean?
I would burn Grandma's time to hell.
Lines 12 through 18.
Now,
I love how she secretly.
I would burn up so much. Grandma would be so fucking hot with me.
that's
I
what
know how to
Dean's
play the
asking
game.
about.
Oh, the lead knows how to play the game.
May we
was so
approach?
sly with that shit. Like,
It wasn't sly, though. That's the thing.
And that's what I would be doing. This attorney, I would just be making random objections. I would be
You don't see the
approaching.
drug, but you
Because
see
all of this,
everything
when they
around it.
approach, all of this stuff counts on Grandma's time. I
I
would be long. You think the lead wouldn't be long stroking these answers?
I really think that tissue has Vicks, so it'll make.
She'd be like, lead attorney, did you or did you not
Right? It
meet
looked like she
with
got a big
Camille
old
in
drip.
her house for 3 hours?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, what
Yeah,
you
she
say?
looked like she was
Did you
dripping
meet
hard.
with Camille in her house for 3 hours? Camille who? Camille Vasquez lead. Did I meet with Camille at her house or at my house? What are we talking?
He
Lead
said
attorney, you burning my
Vasquez.
time. I would be fucking them up. I know how to play the game. I know how to play the game.
Shout out to the lead attorney.
Oh my God, she wanted to slap the hell out of me.
I haven't really, you know what I mean?
This daughter doesn't know how to do it.
He got law books
The
behind him
doctor's
and shit. He must be a
joining
real
her
lawyer.
rhythm. The doctor's not establishing the doctor's rhythm.
I'm
The
just
doctor
playing.
is
I'm
joining
pretty sure he's
grandma's
probably a
rhythm.
real lawyer.
Oh, we would be on Leeds time. We would be on Leeds rhythm. You get with the lead, you're gonna be on Leeds rhythm. That damn
Oh my
forearm gonna make sure you on Leeds time.
Does the witness?
I've been dibbling
You ain't
and
gonna
dabbling
say-
in all
Dr.
sorts of
Curtis,
drama.
this
We
is
got
your
this Johnny
testimony.
Depp's
They
drama,
can in this case,
and
you
then
can look at
oh
it.
my
She got the
god,
glasses on.
shit started getting turned with the jugglers. Apparently, we got
Now,
jugglers
is it my question was now, is it your testimony
choking
under
each other
oath
out
today that
over
you have not
banging
been
each other's
asked to
wives.
testify
and-
concerning Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr.
Oh,
Depp,
it's turned.
including
Oh,
any abuse?
God damn
And
it.
your answer under oath to this jury that day was, that's correct.
I'll save.
Yes.
Correct?
I
I'll save
still
the
agree
show
with
we
that,
watched
that
for
question.
the
All
show
right.
tonight.
And you have not made any determinations, including any opinions.
Because if
that
I
Ms.
start
Heard
talking
abused
about that
Mr.
show
Depp
now,
or
I'm gonna
Mr.
run
Depp
out of so
abused
much
Ms. Heard,
material.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, and in fact, you said that's outside the scope.
Yes,
right? Okay,
of psychology.
and you cannot testify whether Amber Heard suffered any emotional distress as
I'm
a
going
result
in on
of
that
any
tonight.
of the defamatory comments that she has alleged.
Be ready,
Mr.
8 p.m.
Waldman through
Eastern
Mr.
Standard
Depp.
Time.
Mr. Depp made through Mr. Waldman, correct?
Going down, getting house
Objection,
Chapter
Your Honor.
Live.
Stone
Want me to read my
Chakra,
response?
bitches.
Sure.
Objection. I'm
What
sorry.
I,
Hold on, Dr.
sorry,
Curry.
Your Honor.
That's okay. Oh, what's the objection?
She looks hot in those glasses. I'll give her that.
She look hot without
I
them.
like those glasses. Those glasses are hot. Big shout out to Trillions Baby, always supporting your boy. God damn, Trillions Baby. She says your coverage has been great. Thank you so much, Trillions Baby. The $20 on that cash app. Thank you, Trillions Baby. Always supporting your boy. Thank you. But oh yeah, the lead will be burning Grandma's time. Thank you, Trillions Baby. I do like her in those glasses though. Damn.
That's just tough. That's just tough cookies.
She looks like 10 years younger with those glasses. Can we be honest? When she takes those glasses off,
You have not
versus when
rendered
she puts
any
them on,
opinion
10 years.
as to whether Amber
Yep.
Heard
She's
exhibits
35
patterns
right
of
there in those
behavior that would
glasses.
suggest her allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false. Would you agree?
I mean, yes, I would agree with that.
Oh, thank you. And you have not, no, that's right.
I wish
That's
I
all
knew
I've
this
got. No
chick's
further
name.
questions.
Grandma's running through those questions.
Oh, nice. He's like, move, bitch. It's my turn.
Thank you, Jared.
Get at the podium. It's my
We were
turn.
asked about
My turn to
the
talk.
skid.
Yes,
What's that?
it's a structured clinical interview.
Oh,
It's for rendering a diagnosis. It's best for treatment because you're asking direct questions of the examinee and
I'm
about
asking
symptoms.
questions,
So if
Stan.
you have an examinee who has a tendency to minimize, you're not going to get much information.
Why didn't you use it?
Oh, you crying?
Because, well, first of all, I had a limited amount of time for my evaluation, and I had already had to
She crying in there.
use
Good.
just
Maybe she
to
finally
complete the
gotta
interview
go.
was extremely
Let me
time
take care of some
consuming.
Greta
Thank you,
stuff.
Michelle.
And I had to even restructure it into handouts so that I could keep Ms. Hurd on track. I determined based on that, so this is where you would make an inference. So because I was having difficulty getting direct answers to my questions from Ms. Hurd, I had determined that creating forms of those questions would be a better use of the time, which it was. And then I further deduced that adding on the structured clinical interview would probably be unproductive, given that I had limited time and needed to use the best, most reliable methods for getting information in that time.
You were asked about the APA specialty guidelines,
Yes.
specifically 1.02 and
Yes.
1.03.
Mhm.
Have you complied with them?
I have.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Curry, you can have a seat in the courtroom.
you,
You're
Your
free to
Honor.
go. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, shout out to Dr. Curry. That was a good one, guys. That was a good one. That was entertaining. Thank you all for giving me the 2.0 like y'all are awesome. We got Amatin Nope in the house. Shout out to
Okay, so let's
Amatin
go
Nope.
ahead and take our morning recess.
Save me from a
15
damn
minutes to discuss
disaster.
the case and then doing the outside research. Okay.
Shout out to Amatin Nope. He saved me from a disastrous decision. It would have been so bad. It would have been so bad. Look at Grandma right there. Grandma came out guns blazing. Shout out to Terica. This is interesting. I like this, guys. This is fast paced.
All right. Just for planning purposes, Sammy asked Mr. Tobin to be here as early as noon, just in case with the fluid of the trial. I'm not sure what time we can get to that motion. So, okay, just to let you know.
They're talking about the TMZ
They
motion.
need to work on that. They're going to find out who the next witness is. So let's go ahead and take a recess until 10:55. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. This has been a good one. Shout out for me, Tara. Thank you so much. Shout out to everything. Tammy down there. This has been good. They are trying to decide who the next witness will be. Y'all know there is shout out to EA. We got Edward Anderson in the house. There is this motion for TMZ. Shout out to Mr. Mustachio. Says realized last year that the twin sisters ain't in the game of building a legacy. Who are the twin sisters? Town sisters? They are in the game of making money and they are killing it. They just killing all the bridges and their own reputations along the twin sisters. Okay, we're talking about Amber and yeah, but those are not identical twins. One twin soaked up all of the good genes. That is very, very true. Shout out to Mr. Mustachio. Yes, there's this motion. It's so interesting, guys. There's so many things that are coming up. They at 12 o'clock. There is this witness that
Shout
used to
out
work
to
for
Dean for the
TMZ.
super chat.
This whole thing, guys, I just got an
Oh,
email
I like
from YouTube
money.
saying that
Team
they
Jenny.
copyright claimed either this stream or the
Action
last
Jenny.
stream. Like everybody owns bits and pieces of all this stuff that we're seeing. At any rate, there was this guy that worked for TMZ, and Johnny Depp, I think, has called this guy to testify about where he was getting his information from. And TMZ has found a motion to quash that subpoena, a motion to stop that reporter from testifying. And this is a very big thing because we need to be able to protect our sources. I say we, I ain't in it. I talk shit. I am not a journalist, right? But they need to be able to protect their sources.
Is that another
Whistleblowers need to be able to come
for him?
forward without the specter of retaliation.
If that was another alert,
And so they're
going to
argue about this. And TMZ, man, every time, y'all remember that video where Johnny Depp was slamming all the doors, slamming all the cabinets? Y'all remember that video? Somehow TMZ owns that video. And so whenever they play the video in the trial and we're all watching that video, TMZ puts a copyright claim on everybody's video. I've had 3 copyright claims on these damn videos because of that portion of it. And I just got one right now. I don't know. I haven't even checked to see what that one's about. So many people own bits and pieces, but apparently around noon, they're going to decide whether this reporter is allowed to say who has been feeding him information about this case. This is a super interesting case, guys. Super interesting. But big shout out to Mr. Mustachio. Big shout out to our sponsor, the real Mrs. P. Big shout out to Trillions, baby. How are y'all liking this, man? This has been. Grandma was like, brr, 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 brr. She wasn't even waiting for the answers. Did y'all notice that?
Nope.
Grandma was like,
let's get these questions out.
You know, did you go and spend 3 hours with Mr. Depp? And the doctor was like, well, I really didn't. And what about this? And what about that? And the doctor was like, well, that's not really accurate. And what about this? What about that? Like, Grandma, she was just getting it all out. Every question she had on that damn paper, she was going to ask.
She was rocking it out.
She didn't care about the answer. She was not going back and forth. The doctor would be like, no, that's not correct. Bam, on to a new question. And then the doctor would be like, no, that's not really accurate. On to a new question. Like, it was just question. Like, she did not even care about the answer. She was just trying to get the questions in. That's how you know you're Russian.
That's how you know.
When you don't even care what the answer is, you just asking the questions. Grandma's, you know, shout out to all the high schoolers when they raise up their hand like this, you know it's the fourth quarter. You know it is the fourth quarter. So this is pretty interesting. Pretty. It's getting down to the wire. Kate Moss testified. That was underwhelming. They just wanted to see if Kate Moss would say that Johnny Depp didn't push her down the damn stairs.
Look, Johnny Depp never pushed me down the stairs. In fact, he carried me up the stairs.
She got up. They asked her 3 questions and she sat down. And did you see who was starstruck? Did y'all notice that? I wish I could go back and... The attorney was starstruck a little bit. How many people have testified in this case over 6 weeks? Tons of people. The lead attorney for Johnny Depp was starstruck a little bit. When the lead attorney asked his final question, the lead attorney was like, oh, well, listen, I just want to thank you so much, Kate Moss, for taking the time out of your day to come and test. The judge was like, all right, goddammit, all right, sit down. Do y'all remember that? I don't know if y'all caught that. Let me see if I could go back and find it. That was weird. It was weird how the damn attorney was kind of shooting this shot at the end there. It was usually an attorney would be like, all right, no further questions. But this attorney was like,
what was that? Lady Gaga and Flo Rida?
Kate Moss at? She testified, right?
Wait, no.
Was like, I just want to thank. Let's see if we can pull it up here.
No, it's like her and somebody else, but it's somebody that sounds just
right here.
I think his name might be Space Cowboy.
All right, so
stupid.
This is where the attorney is ending his questions. All right, listen to what he says.
Have you ever before today testified in any kind of court proceeding?
No, I have never.
Why did you decide
featuring Space Cowboy and Flo Rida.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
Why don't you believe me?
We have nothing further at this time. We greatly appreciate your
But
taking the
then
time.
after I'm like, you're
to
right.
testify.
Any cross-examination?
No, you're
Like we greatly.
To be fair,
no
I didn't
attorney
remember
says
what
that
album
to
it was
a
off
regular
of.
person. If you're a regular person, I'd
I
just
didn't
be like,
remember
okay,
what
no
album
further
it was off
questions.
of,
but because it's Kate Moss, it's like, oh, we greatly appreciate the time that you've taken out there in London to tell the judge. Like, all right, sit your ass down.
Glasses fixed.
Sit down. She's just a witness, but she's Kate Moss. She's a witness, but she's a supermodel. Like, sit your ass down.
All right, I'm
right?
gonna go to the jewelry store
let me
today
make
and
sure,
see if they,
first of all, let me make sure I'm not living in the past. Let me press play. So we are called up. Y'all be like, hey, Lee, they're back in court. And I just be here, I'll be sitting here chilling, talking to you guys, right?
It kind of
Anybody ever notice how aware?
I mean, they're sunglasses, so they make everything a lot darker.
What's her name? Amber Heard is in the camera.
Out here.
Amber Heard is always like this.
Regular eyes.
Always like this.
With my stupid eyes. My stupid eyes.
You see Johnny. Johnny's always like this. Johnny's like, I don't give a shit, man. Johnny doesn't care.
And then I gotta pay
Your
for
girl
my
Amber's
eye
always
surgery,
looking into the...
Brooklyn
is she's super aware of her image. You know, she fired her old PR team. She hired this new PR team. And she's just always posing.
Strike
It's not going to help. It's not going to help. I think it's kind of clear, you know, what the deal is in this case, the writing on the wall. At least from our perspective. Now, we're not in the courtroom. We do not see the jury members. We don't
Virtual
know how
green
it's going
screen,
in there.
baby.
But we would have to imagine that the jury...
Well, did you
And I'm going to be fair to Amber. I'm going to try to call it fair. I think we can say that the jury probably thinks this is a shit show. This is a complete shit show.
Yeah.
You got this woman, Amber Heard, lying on all of her tests, trying to exaggerate. She has PTSD and she has all of this trauma from, you know, intimate partner violence. And all these tests are exposing her. And then, you know, you got Johnny. Johnny's coked out. The good coke. But he's still coked out.
He's good coked out. What?
Alcohol, weed, amphetamines.
I love doing cocaine with you,
Quaaludes.
Jerry Smith.
2022, he's on Quaaludes. Right? He's on everything under the sun.
Like, how does he still have Quaaludes? That's fucking amazing.
He gets his finger chopped off. Instead of seeking medical attention immediately, instead of calling 911 immediately, instead of going to the hospital immediately, he goes to the garage and gets a can of paint. This man has 9 fingers. You're supposed to have 10. Fine, 9.5. And he goes to the garage to get a can of paint. Shit show. Who dips? None. There are 3,700 people. None of you, if you got half your finger chopped off. Y'all saw the picture. It was disgusting.
I
You could
didn't see the
bone.
picture, thankfully. I'm glad I didn't get to see
Would
the
you
bone.
dip your raw bone into Sherman Williams black paint?
No.
Would you do it?
No.
You wouldn't do it. None of you would do that.
At most, like if I was
You know?
gonna dip my hand in something to, if
he's
I thought it was gonna
dramatic.
protect it, I think I would.
Aquaman, he's dramatic as hell. Which one of you
But even that
talking
sounds
to your
a little
wife would
extreme.
take a
I'll probably
knife
just wrap
and
it up
put
and
it
go
to your
the
throat?
hospital.
You take the knife.
Yeah,
And
the
put it to
finger
your
and the
own
piece
throat.
that was missing.
You say, tell me where.
Yeah, put my
Tell me
finger
where
piece
you
on
want me to cut
ice,
myself.
wrap my hand up, and then
And
take
Amber's
my happy
like,
ass
no,
to the
don't cut yourself.
hopsicle.
I'll cut my own throat.
Take
I'll
my
do it in
happy
my
ass
arm.
to the hopsicle. That's what.
I'll cut my chest.
Where do you want me to
leave
cut
the
myself?
scar of our love?
I'll cut myself wherever you want them, Johnny
Amber's like,
Depp.
no,
I'll
don't
make
cut
you.
yourself.
You want me to bleed for
No,
you,
no, no, no,
Amber?
no, okay. I'll cut my throat. These are
You want me to
recordings.
bleed
Did
for
y'all
you,
hear the
Amber? I will
recordings?
do it.
Like, Johnny, what the fuck is wrong with you? Tell me where to leave the scar. No, don't cut yourself, John.
Oh.
No, okay. I won't cut myself.
What she do?
What if I cut you? Oh my God, Johnny, what the hell's going on with you? What the hell's leave her? It's not worth it. Johnny. So you're gonna cut her? It's on. She's recording the damn call. She's recording the audio, Johnny.
Man, she was setting
And
you
then
up.
this crazy bitch is like, no, Johnny, don't use this knife. It's too dull. It's too dull. Use this one.
What?
This one's a sharper knife, Johnny.
That bitch is.
This one's a sharper knife.
He's crazy. She crazier.
This one won't hurt as much. It'll leave a cleaner scar. Both of y'all are fucked up. I'm a 20-year divorce attorney. If you don't know who I am, mucho gusto. I am the lead attorney. I've seen these marriages for 20 years. Both of y'all are fucked up. Shout out to Johnny Depp. We're Team Johnny, but they're both gone. If I'm on the jury, I'm like, what do y'all want me to do? Y'all are both fucking sick in the head. I'm calling it like I see it. We're Team Johnny, but you know, over here on this channel, we're gonna tell you the truth.
Shout out to the lead attorney.
Johnny's on some shit, man. Come on, let's be fair. Ugh. What's the fucking camp? But then here comes fucking Amber. He had me bent over the bar. I was bent over. You were bent over? I was bent over on my back. Like, what? How are you bent over? And then the bottle came out. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Then the bottle came out.
Oh my God.
I didn't feel anything. You didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any pain. I just felt him punching my pubic bone. My pubic bone, Lee, the bone. He was punching the bone. What was he punching the bone? He was punching the bone with the bottle. I'm like, oh my God. He was punching your pubic bone with the bottle, Lee.
Oh my God.
Just like this. No, Lee, it wasn't like that. How was it? He was using the bottom of the bottle. Oh my God. He was using the bottom of the bottle. He was up in me with the bottom of the damn bottle, Lee. No, not the bottom of the bottle. Oh my God. Like, this is, both of y'all are sick. I've been a divorce attorney for 20 years. Like, this is crazy. We're still waiting, guys. This isn't me long stroking you, right? But it's like, come on. The fuck are y'all doing?
The most.
If I'm on the jury, maybe none of y'all get anything. Fuck both of y'all. Let me get my $25 jury check. Every juror gets $25. Give me my $25 check and let me go home. Had me in this bullshit for 6 weeks.
Check.
Talking about goddamn sharp knives. Talking about damn bottles. What are we? Damn science experiments we're talking about.
That's crazy.
This is my life.
Work a
I'm
full-time
spending
job
6 weeks of
basically
my
for
life
6
hearing
weeks.
y'all's bullshit. This man has mansions. He has islands. And he's away in Australia, and this chick is barefoot running around in elevators, public elevators, getting James Franco.
Getting James Franco.
Man, fuck both of y'all. If I'm gonna be honest, if I'm on the jury, they don't want Lee as the jury. I don't know what I would do. I don't know who y'all would vote for.
Do they ever make lawyers?
But you know, I've been dealing with this stuff in and out of court. You guys don't know how it is. It's like, you reach a limit after so long. 3 years.
I know, but like they would
exciting.
get pulled, right?
5 years.
They would
Y'all
get
know,
pulled for
shout out to
jury duty,
AV. Shout out to AV. She's gonna graduate, and she only has
but I
one
think they would
class
still get
left.
pulled.
She's
I don't
all
think they
excited to be
don't
an
automatically
attorney.
get out of the running.
After 5 years, you still like. After 10 years, you're like, wait a minute.
Stoned Chakra.
You people are. Like, is it me? Am I not reading it right? After 10 years, you're like, or is it? After 15 years, you're like, no, it's not me. It's not me. It's you. It's you. You're fucking crazy.
Oh, I finally realized what that light is. It's literally
Knives.
like the light from the window behind.
Sherman Williams paint. The bottom of Don Juan tequila bottles Patron.
See that? Yeah, that's from the window back
After
there.
20 years, none of y'all are getting nothing.
I figured it out.
I'm Team Johnny, man. I give him something, but both of y'all are fucking crazy.
Crazy as
You're
hell.
crazy.
Crazy as hell.
So, I know, I wish I could just take my 20 years experience of dealing with y'all and just lend it to you so you guys can see what I see. All of the cases, all of husbands, all of wives, the way that y'all interact, the mutual combat, the lies, the infidelities, the alcohol abuse, the drug abuse, the violence. Total shit show. All right, so it looks like they are coming back. I think we heard them, but then they cut the mics off, right? Let me make sure I'm all caught up. I'll be up here talking to y'all. It'll be 30 minutes later. Y'all be like, Lee, we're missing the trial. There's so much I want to tell you guys. There's so much I want you guys to know.
I want to know.
And when I see stuff like this, I'm just going to see it differently than you guys. We're all going to watch it together. We all going to laugh. We are all going to laugh.
Tell me more.
But everyone's perspective is a little different, right? And when I see some of this shit, man, I'm like, man, I had a case like this, or I remember I had a case like that, or I wish I could tell you guys about some of my cases. I could sit up here for days and just tell y'all my case for days. Y'all would be like, y'all would lose faith in humanity if I started telling you the shit that I've seen. Over 20 years of representing you fuckers, man. It's like, shout out to all the YouTubers. I'll be on YouTube, man, and I'll be watching. And, there'll be these panels. Shout out to everybody in the damn manosphere or whatever, and there'll be all these damn panels, and it should be all, well, men need to do this and women need to do that. And it's like 8 people screaming at each other on a panel about holding each other accountable. And it's like, how many people, you take this one guy, for example, it's like, how many people have you talked to? I mean, you talked to 20 people and now you're telling people, unless you do this, like you take Kevin Samuels for a second, he talked to thousands and thousands of people. His consults alone. It's the numbers, guys. It's the iterations. Once you start talking to people over and over, and you start to get a sense of how people are. But if you haven't talked to people, like thousands of people for years, you don't get it. You'll have some guy, he would have talked to 10 people, and now he's gonna give a relationship advice, having talked to 10 people. It's like, what do you even know? Right? And so I don't say nothing. I just watch these damn panels and stuff, and everybody's screaming about how men should be or how women should be.
Oh, we back.
It's absolute craziness.
We back.
All right, so now they are getting together, the big caucus, all the attorneys running up there. This is going to be a good one. Man, that is a lot of money surrounding that judge's table. That's a lot of money.
Big money. What they doing? What they doing, y'all? They doing something.
Yeah, you got something.
Can we just call it, Judge? Like, haven't we done enough? What? Why is Instagram showing me an ad for some Johnny Depp rings right now?
Whoa.
Look at this shit. They showing me an ad for some Johnny Depp rings. Ain't that about a bitch?
They know.
them big chunky rings. Them big chunky rings. Where the ring marks, Amber? Where the ring marks? You wore them rings every day, right? Where the ring marks at?
I bet the ring market is going up as we speak.
Right.
Because of this trial.
Right? Everybody's like, man, I'm starting to deck my shit out with rings.
Right.
Just so if a bitch
I
try
want
and
a
say
ring
some
on
shit, I'd be like, nah, look at my rings. You see any ring marks? I wear these rings all day, every day. That bitch lying on me.
Right.
Why are they not fucking talking? See, this is what I get for leaving the lead attorney. I mean, he got that good shit. He got that good commentary. I don't know shit about the law. That's why I went to his channel.
So I'm 45 and I'm retired. So they talking about, 9. Oh, we're starting court at 9. I'm just getting out of the bed. Right? At any rate, I'm about to take a break, man. Shout out to the Smarkitect man. Says, what's your favorite part of this whole trial? Actually, this is such a great question. And I'll be honest, my favorite part of the whole trial, guys, is you. It's you. Just talking to y'all, reading the chat. Some of y'all love me in the chat. Some of y'all are shitting on me in the chat. We're talking about the swirl. Do y'all remember the swirl that Amber has today?
Is anything real going on right now? Or are they just playing at it? I want to keep distracting myself with useless fluff. We don't need to be worrying about what's really going on in the world right now. Pay attention to this perfectly positioned distraction.
Right.
as the rest of the world burns around you. Yes, give me. I'll take it. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you, overlords, for giving me a distraction from all the other bullshit that you got going on. You know, as long as I can talk shit about Amber Turd dropping grumpies in the bed, I don't mind that it's now $5 a gallon for gas and I gotta pay $5 a box for vanilla wafers. And what else is ridiculous right now?
We're losing all our rights.
Oh yeah, we're losing all our rights. Roe v. Wade getting overturned. What else? Exorbitant rent increases across the board.
Yep. What else? Climate change.
Oh yeah, that too. That's always good.
Aliens.
They basically laid out a plan for if entities came down and started to attacking us, but they just kept saying, in case classified happens in major city, we will go ahead and classified and gather large groups of people to classified. Yeah, it was the craziest shit I ever seen. And that's the worst part, because they literally do it in full view of the public. All you have to do is watch C-SPAN. But then you'll be even more downtrodden than if you would just watch regular news. Because then it's just right in your face. It's not as stylized, and it's not as punchy. But it's the same horrible shit, just with way more detail. Way more detail.
Yeah. I feel like the truth is too much, so we gotta focus on turds in bed.
Yeah. Why would we want to worry about extraterrestrials or multiple wars abroad and possibly at home?
Literally, aliens are my least concern. I'm more concerned about the human beings fucking everything up.
We can't be concerned with that.
The aliens are here to stop all this shit.
No, they're not. They ain't here to stop nothing.
Or they're here to watch it.
Watch and laugh.
We're like that crazy reality show that we're watching. They're watching us being like, damn.
They did that on a South Park episode where Earth was just a reality show.
Yeah.
Ugh. Super turn. Yeah, so they just out here talking, I guess. I'm so confused.
Experience for me. I'm having fun watching this trial. If I was not a YouTuber,
I mean, I was having fun.
And shout out to all the white people. This is like white people's O.J. Simpson trial. Millions of people are looking at this feed right now. Millions. This is like their trial of the century. This trial is so big, guys. It's so big. But just for me, as a 20-year-old, I ain't watching this shit. I ain't gonna do it. But the fact that you guys are here and there's all this chat, 3,000 people in the chat, and all y'all's comments, hilarious comments. I'm just going through it. I'm listening with my good ear if I hear anything. But this has been the only time in my whole career, YouTube career, where I'm able to have a live stream and read the chats at the same time. Guys, you guys don't know this, but the super chats are in a different color. So I can see the super chats. The super chats stand out to me. They make them so that content creators like me, we can see the super chats because they stand out. But y'all's regular comments, they're just white. Like they don't stand out. So on a regular stream, guys, on a regular stream, there's Johnny. On a regular stream where I'm not watching something, I'm actually talking to you.
He be talking.
Hey, yo, I think about when a nigga didn't have.
Oh, shit. I don't know if they're gonna get back to the trial or not. Like, they're doing a lot of off-camera talking right now. I'm not appreciating this. Not appreciating this at all. Oh, man. I know I said we was gonna go to the jewelry store, but I don't want to go out there.
Me neither. I mean, I will.
isn't the handyman or the maintenance man supposed to come today?
As soon as she said that shit, I was like, they're not coming until next week.
Oh God.
You know, like yeah, pero maybe today, but it might be tomorrow. Like okay, so never. I mean, if we leave though, he can just come in.
Word.
With the key.
Oh yeah, 'cause we gave him permission.
Yeah.
So he might rob us.
We ain't got shit.
True. Look at this bullshit. They ain't gonna talk no more, are they? They'll probably do this shit all the way until noon, and then they'll break for lunch on some whackness. I don't know. I'm gonna call it. I might be back with something else, but I'll definitely be back at 8. Definitely be back at 8.
Stoned Chakra, bitches.